A part of me really wanted to believe that it would be easy, or at least not too hard, to get a foothold back on the career ladder once we moved here. Hi friends, and welcome back to Eliza's Notes. I'm Eliza. I'm an Australian 24-year-old, almost 25-year-old living in Paris, France. I moved here just over a year ago, and this video is going to be all about that process, including quitting my career back home in Australia. If you're watching this video, chances are that you fall into one or two or both categories of viewers, which would be: one, you probably want to move to Paris, or two, you want to quit your job, or three, you want to do what I've done and do both together. I have been wanting to get this video done and off my chest for quite some time. I just want to be completely honest with you guys and give a lowdown on how in the heck I got here and what it's been like. The purpose of this video is not to complain, not at all. Basically, it is hopefully to give some advice for anyone in a similar position or anyone who wants to be in a similar position, and essentially also to talk about the fact that you can achieve the biggest thing that you want to achieve and then realize that you still have a whole mountain peak to climb. And to continue with the mountain allegory, essentially moving to Paris, quitting my career, feels kind of like I've done a lot of hard work, but then I realize that I'm at base camp and still have the rest of Mount Everest to climb. But like I said, I'm not complaining. This is about motivation, it's about persevering and continuing on to keep achieving big things. This video is going to be in roughly 4 parts. If you want, you can skip around. I'll put the timestamps in the description. If this type of content interests you, then I would love it if you guys subscribe, comment, you know the drill, because it really does help. So on with the video, and part 1 is why I quit my job and the process of moving to Paris. It's been just over a year since my partner Nick and I came to Paris, and it was a lot of work in the lead up and coming here and setting up our life here. Before coming to Paris, we had been living in Sydney in Australia, where we're both from, and I was girl bossing it up. I was a regular girl boss, bossing on that career, building that career, and I made the decision to give it up and move to the other side of the world. I guess that's what we do in our 20s, right? We completely build something up and then we decide to start again. I had actually secured basically my dream job, at least I thought it was my dream job, straight out of uni, converting an internship into casual work as a reporter. The casual work part was not really in line with what I thought landing my dream job would be like, right? I thought I would get full-time work and be done with it and be like full-time journalist, boss babe, straight out of uni. Didn't happen. They wanted me to go out to the country, and I said, heck no, I am not a country girl. Does anything about me scream yeehaw? I think not. So I made the decision to find full-time work, transitioned into a media and communications job for full-time work, which was excellent. Having the security of full-time work, chef's kiss, no notes. Full-time work, 9 to 5. It has its issues, but the stability is amazing. Since we met in university, we had both known that we wanted to move overseas. I spoke a bit of Italian, but we weren't going to move to Italy, and Nick was all over that French study in uni. His French is really good, so we were like, you know what? We need to go to France. It's either that or we go to Quebec and we parle français avec les Québécois. So I'm, girl bossing, keeping up my French. Nick's basically doing the same. Nick's being his own girl boss, boy boss, I don't know. And we are enjoying the stability, but we are also aware that we have made this commitment. We book our tickets, our flights, one way to France, and reality begins setting in, right? very scary big adult stuff of the follow through of moving overseas. We give notice at our jobs as the time comes. We begin saying goodbye to family and friends, which is incredibly hard. If you move overseas, if you leave a country behind, you have to make peace with the fact that there are people that you might never see again, which is an incredibly difficult concept to wrap your head around. We also, of course, gave up the stability of work. We knew that we were going into either unemployment or underemployment coming here. I mean, Nick knew he was coming here without work because obviously he couldn't get a position before getting a visa. Because I am an Irish citizen, I was able to line up babysitting work, and that is humbling. I'm going to skip over quite a lot because you guys don't need to hear the boring stuff about all the things that were involved with us moving here, but needless to say, it's been a lot. Nick was unemployed for some time, so he gave up stable work to come here and wait for his visa and be unemployed for quite some time. So the only income we had for quite a while was my shitty babysitting income. So we were living off of our savings for quite a bit. Thankfully, Nick got a 5-year visa, a whole 5 years, because he is the partner of an EU citizen. He now has full-time work, also another win. We have stable housing, thank goodness. So we are incredibly lucky. We have gotten so much done. The missing piece of the puzzle is restarting our careers. Luckily, I will be starting full-time work very soon. I've taken another job in childcare, and while it isn't professional work, I am grateful for the hours and the stability it will bring. So once we have 2 full-time incomes, it's going to really, really mean that we can not be on such a tight budget. It means that we can also be back on a similar schedule. I am so looking forward to not working evenings because I can have my social life back in the night, and having those full-time hours, I am so ready. So this is where we're at now. I've explained why I quit my job, why we both quit our jobs, why we gave up all the stability we had back in Australia, and how we ended up here, and kind of what our current situation is. So this brings me on to part 2, which is essentially the roadblocks and why I have been having trouble finding work. A part of me really, really, really wanted to believe that it would be easy, or at least not too hard, to get a foothold back on the career ladder once we moved here. My French is not fluent, but it is also not too bad. And after maybe another 1 or 2 years here, I think that I will be fluent. The thing to understand about France, though, and the French job market, is that unless you have a degree in STEM or a very competitive CV, you are not going to find work, professional work, unless you speak French fluently. Like, of course, I know that there are some exceptions, but for the most part, the competition is that fierce that chances are, no, you will probably not find professional work here. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I made it through multiple rounds for various jobs, but each time it was basically said to me that I'm sorry, the competition is just too fierce. Or the other thing that I heard was, sorry, we went with someone who is a polyglot. Sorry, but you got passed over because this person speaks 5 languages. Why are you going for an entry-level job if you speak 5 languages? Anyway, on top of this, if you do not have a master's degree, you will also be at a very big disadvantage, because in Europe, it seems like having a bachelor's is basically like finishing high school. This brings us onto a fun point, and it is talking about future plans. Basically, how I plan to get myself back into a professional career and back on track. So we have 2 issues. I'm not fluent in French and I don't have a master's degree. From my perspective, the answer is simple. I go back to school. I need to keep building my professional skills. I need to build an ironclad portfolio. And, of course, I need to master French. The course that I have my eye on and that I will be applying to has compulsory French classes, which I think will be just what I need to push me into that next level of French ready for the job market. I won't specify what the course I'm looking into is for obvious privacy reasons, but it is a continuation of my work experience and as well my interests and studies that I've done previously. It is also for me, I think, a smart choice because a lot of the courses for masters that I looked into back in Australia were just eye-wateringly expensive. While I do have to pay some money to go to university here, I think overall it will be a good opportunity to benefit from cheaper education. Essentially right now what I'm doing is working my butt off to put together the best possible application for this master's course. I do have backup plans, but right now I think this is the path that holds the most promise to me and I'm really excited to pursue it. So this brings us to the final part of the video. I wanted to impart some advice if you are going through a similar situation, and I just wanted to offer my insight from the path that I have followed. For you, dear viewer, I hope you realize that you are not alone in making these big decisions, in taking risks and the fears and anxieties that can come along with it. This could be fear around moving to another country. It could be fear around quitting your work. It could be fear around starting that project. You know, the one that you've been talking about for ages that you've been putting off with and everyone keeps asking you about. It could be any of those things or more. Taking big risks in life is never ever as easy as big Hollywood blockbusters show. A lot of the times it is a lot more complex than that, and we cannot guarantee the outcomes. Personally, I'm not going to be able to know for quite some time whether or not this particular risk of moving to another country has paid off for me. This is an uncomfortable feeling, but it's also an incredibly exciting time. I know that it is super duper easy to see how people idealize taking risks, idealize showing their incredible journey to becoming a full-time influencer or showing how they got to where they wanted to be. But take it from a journalist, it is incredibly easy to crop out things from the whole picture. And also too, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video, that you can achieve something and then be so totally unsure of how to get to, again, the next point, because there will probably always be a next point. In 5 years' time, I could be having a mid-career slump and be seriously questioning where I go from there. I guess it goes back to the cheesy old adage of, it's about the journey, it's not about the destination. I'm going to leave it there, friends. Thank you so much for watching. I really do sincerely hope that this video can help you and give you some insight into taking risks, into moving on into a new part of your life and understanding that everything will be okay. Let me know in the comments whether or not you have ever taken a big risk and if it turned out the way you expected. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe because it really does make a difference. Bye for now, and I'll catch you in my next video.